I noticed on your book cover, you mention people, quality, and innovation. What is that all about?
That was really the basis of the book. It comes from Larry Nelson's theory on three filters. Nelson was a trainer, a writer, teacher, and he was contemplating one day the hierarchy of needs that we all know. You know, you got your physical needs, your social needs, and your security needs and all that stuff. And he was noticing people that were in the so-called higher level needs still had had more social needs and others had more security needs. And he realized we have all needs all the time, but with a slight shift like I was just talking about. So he thought filters made more sense than a hierarchy. And he took the people and security, because that's pretty obvious, and he didn't know what to do with the higher level needs, because he doesn't call them higher level anymore. They're just the other needs. And he labeled the future filter. The need to build, the need to be concerned about future relationships. People is sort of in the present. What about the future? So he said if you look at things from three perspectives, the people side, the security side, the future side, you're going to make better decisions, because we have all the needs all the time, but people shift in a little more one or the other. So I extended Nelson's theories after I met with him and talked to him, and I added feelings, quality, innovation on top of his theory. So people and feelings. So I'm at work. Feelings matter. How customers feel about me, about my product matters. How the employees feel, how the public regulators feel. All this stuff matters a great deal. Security matters, and quality is where I extended that, because reading Nelson's theory, what he's really talking about is become more objective, and the quality studies I have are try to quantify, be objective, be realistic. So I said, okay, so we should look at feelings and quality, and both are very, very important. And oftentimes the lazy person will stop right there, because that makes sense. So you can have a company where everybody feels good and everybody's happy, is making profits, and the quality is superb. And how many companies have we known in the last 50 years that have been that way that are gone today? Because they didn't innovate. They didn't see the future, and the future being fundamentally different from the present. And they're gone. So I say you've got to have that third filter to survive as an organization. And so I extended his theory. That's where we came up with the total book. Nelson was a co-author of this book, and I did carry his three filters theory and merely extended it. But now you probably want to know, where do you take that practical? How do I use this every day? And that's what I'm really advocating, is use the three filters every day, all the time. So I have a simple method of doing that. One is to ask, how do you feel? That's an easy question. How do I feel? How do you feel? Feelings matter. Perception matters. We know it's a great deal. But then take off the red glasses and say, well, what do you think? I'm asking for an objective point of view, quantitative, realistic. And by that, we start blending. But I'll say that's not sufficient. The third question, where can this go, sort of tops it off. I got a picture of a butterfly here. We don't know where the butterfly is going to go. It's just going to fly. You can't put a leash on it. You can't train it. It just goes. So that future filter is whatever the future is. But we can affect it. We make choices. So how do you feel? What do you think? Where can this go? Now I've got to try it on you. We've covered a lot of ground here, particularly conflict, because that was really the core here. How do you feel about that?
I feel great. How do you feel?
Well, at first, it was intimidating when I had to go home and deal with constructive conflict, because it's hard. It feels good when you get somewhere, but maybe in conflict, feelings aren't real good. But I want to go somewhere. So I have to start with, how do I feel? How does Joanne feel? If I'm dealing with employees, how do you feel? Likewise, I need to then exit from feelings. Take a time out, go to your room, think, write stuff down, get qualitative and objective, quantitative, and look at it completely different. What do you think? And you get a whole different picture. I find just those two questions is huge improvement over staying stuck in your feelings or staying stuck in your aloofness. But it's not sufficient. So now that you've heard that, Laurel, where can this go?
Yeah, it's important to be able to integrate both of them to
Uh-huh.
make a decision. Because I think when you have the feeling and the thinking side, and you add that together, then you have a better answer in deciding where this might go.
There you can. I recall one day I came home from a class and my wife was at the computer typing an email, and I could see steam coming out of her ears. You ever seen people where steam?
Oh, yeah.
You know, you don't really see steam, but the cartoons have it right.
Mhm.
There was something where she was upset, and she was typing furiously. Somebody had done something, said something that offended her, and she was right to feel that way. And I listened to her, and I said, okay, Joanne, where do you want this to go? You're writing a letter. What do you want to happen next? And you could see her take a breath, the steam coming in, and says, She calmed down, and we got objective. We started thinking, now, are you sure that what you saw is what really happened? And she told me what she saw. I said, okay, is there another way you could interpret that? Well, I guess so. Well, let's try this interpretation. Okay. Now, would you write the same letter if that's what really happened? Because you just saw one point of view. I says, well, no. Now, she was still upset, but she saw a different light. And I said, now, you're writing a letter. What do you want to happen next? Do you want this person to know you felt bad? Do you want to change the way you do things? Do you want to have a relationship with this person in the future?
Mhm.
And it took her a half hour for this email that was taking 10 seconds.
Mhm.
And out of it, something good came. You never know what. You know, when you take that chance and give the other person the benefit of the doubt, things can happen. But we did discover later that she had misinterpreted, that one of those other interpretations of what was said and done was more realistic. And boy, was she relieved that she didn't send that first letter. She also told me she kind of sort of resented me taking her through that because she knows I teach this stuff, and she knew what I was doing, but the brain in her mind, you know, the logical part says, okay, I'm going to play along, and something good did come out of it.
Well, that's great. That's wonderful. It's great to have a win-win situation.
Yeah,
It is.
it doesn't always go that way. Yeah.